Okay, so I talked about Kyle Shanahan's what I would like to call PSWC offense. So a lot of football guys know this and fans. West Coast offense is called WCO. It comes from really the schematics and concept designs of Bill Walsh, who got it from basically Sid Gilman. A guy in between there was a guy named Don Faurot, and these all mean different things. Gilman learned or actually I should say developed a system of spreading the football field, but not with alignment. His alignment was usually, it was coming off a T formation where you had three running backs, but then you'd move one out to receiver. Then eventually a pro formation, which started in the 1960s and got popular with Vince Lombardi, but this is basically it. Running back, fullback, but usually the fullback was closer to the running back, but that doesn't really matter here, that's details. Tight end, two receivers. But from this set, actually, Gilman liked to take this fullback and start to make him more of a H-back or tight end type, so like a two tight end or a H-back set, so just one running back, so that these guys, you had four guys who could get out into the field and spread the field. I mean, Gilman used geometry, but he was more of an artist almost than a scientist or mathematician. I think Bill Walsh was more the mathematician, but Gilman liked to just carve up the field and use all of it and get the ball all around. Sid Gilman learned from his mentor was the famous Francis Schmidt, who was an amazing play designer way ahead of his time in the 1920s and 30s. But anyways, Bill Walsh learned from Gilman and Coryell, and he liked to, Gilman made sure to spread everything short, intermediate, and then as the arrow goes off the screen here, deep, vertically, as well as horizontally. But Bill Walsh made it more of a horizontal spread, to just use the whole field, and instead of running the running back or the running game, just use the pass as a running game. That was incredibly innovative as well. Anyway, all of that becomes what we call the West Coast offense. Another guy named Mike Martz came off these guys, mainly Don Coryell, but he knew about all three of these guys, Gilman, Walsh, and Coryell. And he, again, did more of a spread both vertically and horizontally, but he really made it a real spread, fast-paced, big-time West Coast spread offense. So that's really what we have as a West Coast offense now, the WCO. Shanahan is the son of Mike Shanahan, and Mike Shanahan was brilliant at what I would call the power West Coast offense. So Sid Gilman had a spread West Coast with a little bit of a running game, and Joe Gibbs took that and used two tight ends or an H-back. Look this guy up here. So a one-back. He called it one-back with one running back, but he used a lot of power in the 1980s with a guy named John Riggins. But he also had what they called the Smurfs. He had three little fast receivers that would spread the field out. So he was more of what I call power West Coast from Sid Gilman. Well, Mike Shanahan used a power West Coast offense from Bill Walsh. So he had the Bill Walsh style, and he would have an H-back like this, but use him in the backfield like this. So this guy's really not a fullback. He is a fullback. That's Juszczyk, the famous fullback this year, who's done great with Shanahan. But Kyle Shanahan, that is. Kyle Shanahan's dad also used this guy, but like in this position, it's more what they would still call an H-back. It's sort of like a one-back. This is like a hybrid one-back, two-back. So we're calling this guy, I'm circling, a fullback, but he sort of can line up as a wingback, a slot. Shanahan uses him all over the field. Anyway, his dad sort of made this famous and powered Terrell Davis for the Denver Broncos and the running back in a power scheme, but with John Elway as his quarterback, and won Super Bowls in the 1990s with that. So again, Joe Gibbs came from the Gilman strategy, but as a power West Coast. Shanahan came from Walsh as a power West Coast offense. Now, Kyle Shanahan, the son, has innovated this to what I would call a PS West Coast offense, PSWC, and in brilliant work by Shanahan. He's been brilliant for years. He actually, I think, had RG3 as a running quarterback at the Redskins. Then he did some brilliant stuff for the Falcons and got them to the Super Bowl under Dan Quinn. And now he's doing it here as a head coach. And, there's all kinds of misdirection that will happen, all kinds of play action, fakes, and more than anything, what he's innovating that we haven't seen before is team. Not just space, not just time, but team now. So he will use this fullback, Juszczyk, because this guy's very athletic, and he was a tight end in college. And he'll use him as a tight end, a wing back, slot back. He'll even use him out wide out here. He'll throw it to him, hand it off to him. He'll block, and he will also. I don't know if he's thrown the ball yet. I don't know what he can do that or punt the ball, kick the ball. But anyway, he'll use him as an option quarterback, like right here. Check this play out. Okay, just a typical handoff, right? A sweep with the fullback, which is not actually that typical. Usually you'll do that to the running back. But check this out. Look where the running back's going. With the fullback. And in the past games, this guy has went down the line. First of all, a nice mobile offensive line does a real good job on running and pass blocking. But anyway, Juszczyk will go down here and he'll either option pitch it to this guy, the running back, or cut it up and run it. Well, in this little twist, he's going to flip it to the receiver in a reverse, with Garofalo out here providing a decoy block, because I really don't think he wants to get his butt kicked. But anyways, check it. Boom. Little that. There goes the option. There goes a lot of the team over to the option that they've seen on film. And here comes the receiver, Samuel, around the other side. But so simple, so brilliant. Doesn't even require amazing ball handling. Very simple. Look at this. Boom, boom. Here we go. Half the team, most of the team's on the other side of the field. And there is Garofalo making a block. How about that? Of course, it's easier to make a block when you're not slamming up and the guy knows what's going on. This guy doesn't know what the heck's going on. He's racing back over. He's out of position, out of coordination, and it's easy for Garofalo not only to make a little block there, but not to get hurt doing it. See? That guy's all off balance. That's not Garofalo being a strong guy. This guy's off balance, which is essentially making Garofalo a lot stronger than he normally is. That's the scheme, providing more strength and speed and space. It's what scheme does if you have a good scheme. Anyway, but great stuff. You'll see a lot of stuff like this from Kyle Shanahan, the son of Mike Shanahan. I wrote about it in the Wild Card post on Sunday last week. And you also see these guys, these players all over the place. George Kittle, their good tight end, he'll be lined up in different places. The fullback, they're lined up. It's just a fantastic use of personnel and misdirection and motion and everything else. And it's not your standard power spread offense. That's why I call it PSWC. It's a nice blending of a West Coast offense, power-based, with a power spread.